Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda Sarai, and today I'm really excited to talk about the divine feminine rising, what this energetic is really all about. And there's a lot of layers as to why this is a really aligned time to speak into this. But I just want to be really clear that we all contain the divine feminine energy. We all contain both the masculine and the feminine energies. So this has nothing to do with sex, gender, all of that. This has everything to do with energetics. So the divine feminine rising is this awakening of the energetic that has been suppressed. Obviously, we see a massive imbalance in society, and this is not just because women as a gender for centuries, millennia, have been suppressed. Just saw 111. It's because it's the energetic itself. If we look at nature herself, nature is, Mother Gaia, Mother Earth. She is the feminine. Earth is the feminine energy. And look what has happened. The destruction of our environment is very much a part of this suppression and degradation of the feminine essence, of the feminine energy. So why is this such a powerful time to be speaking into this? Is yesterday was Mary Magdalene. They call it feast day. It feels a little off to call it that. I think the Catholic Church named it, which is maybe why I don't resonate with it so much. But Mary Magdalene Celebration Day, how about that? It's the July 22nd. The 22 is very connected to the Magdalene. And 2 is a number of union, 1 and 1 coming together, and then it's amplified, and there's more to it. But also today, Venus has gone retrograde, and Venus is the planet of love, of beauty. She is the relational planet of abundance as well, beauty, pleasure, all of that magical physical essence as well. So she rules both Taurus and Libra, and Taurus is that material essence, while Libra is the more relational essence. And what's interesting about this is that the nodes just shifted last Monday also into Aries North Node, Libra South Node. So why is this significant that Venus is also now going retrograde? Well, because with the South Node in Libra, we already have this energy of bringing balance into our relational patterns, into our relationships. And with Venus going retrograde, we are being called to go even deeper into examining any outdated or distorted patterns, emotional frequencies that we have related to relationships. So this may be rooted in, inner child work, how we related to our mother, to our father, the mother wound, the father wound, perhaps, but also from relationships. What are patterns that are no longer serving us, whether they're relationships from the past or current relationships that need recalibrating. So Libra in the South Node, it's always about the shadows. So it's calling us already to bring more balance into our relationships and how we relate to others, how we also relate to ourselves, of course. So it's the balance of the masculine and the feminine as well. So that is actually a layer that I wasn't even gonna, discuss at first in discussing this massive topic, but it felt very important and aligned because on top of all that, and Venus is not just about the relationship patterns, it's our relationship with love, it's our relationship with self-love. But with Libra bringing that balance, it does very much, it's yes, again, that energetic within, but also the energetic without, but also our relationship with finances, our material world, our relationship with abundance. So there's a lot going on here. here, a lot for us to recalibrate in the next 40 days while she's in retrograde. And with all of this clearing that we have done over the last several months, with all of these other eclipses and, you know, the solstices and everything else, the portals, there's been clearing, healing. So this is another opportunity to just get really grounded in how we want to relate with ourselves, with our loved ones, with our financial world, with abundance, with nature. How are we going to relate with her going forward? And all of the above, right? Chiron Wounded Healer also just went retrograde today. So 7 planets in retrograde, I believe, right now, which is a lot. So it's this time to really reset and recalibrate. And the card that came out today, I am sharing daily cards in my free group, so I'll link that below if you want to tune in and receive that wisdom daily. And it's a free group, and I am just loving growing the community inside there. And it's a really beautiful, calm, serene, peaceful space and a private community. So I encourage you to check it out. And awakening. So we are awakening to the truth of our power, our beauty, but this is also the awakening of the divine feminine. Yesterday, I did a divine feminine heart rose awakening activation is really what I wound up calling it after what came through. So the feminine energy is related to the heart. The masculine is the mind, the feminine is the heart. So we're being called to heal our hearts. What is in the way? What is blocking us from receiving? Because the feminine energy is one of receiving. It is flow, it is receiving. So we were in the womb space as well in the activation. If you'd like to receive the activation and the wisdom transmission where I dove deep into Mary Magdalene and all of her beautiful energetics, the link for that is also below. It's also included in my Elevate membership, which is the same monthly price as what the activation is. So if you want to check that out as well, there's a lot of value in there, a lot of resources. So this is the energy. This is the energy of awakening the divine feminine within, awakening the heart within. The energy of love, unblocking our heart space, our heart chakras from the walls that we've put up, from grief, from pain, from suffering, from suppression, from degradation, the walls of protection that actually block us from receiving all the beauty, magic, wisdom, and gifts that are here for us, from the love that is here for us, not just from others and from ourselves, but also the love of the divine, which is really the love that we're being called to embrace most deeply right now. Because once we are connected with unconditional divine love, open to receiving that, well, then we are open to receiving all forms of love and blessings. So reconnecting with this divine feminine energy is so incredibly powerful and important. So Mary Magdalene is the embodiment of this path of love herself. And before I forget, let me just share, this card also came out yesterday, Mirror. So with this relationship energy coming up, who or what is triggering you? So I also just want to note that we have the roses here, a lot of the water energy. So we're being called to reflect on anything that is coming up within our relationships that is triggering us, that is, wanting to be examined and healed so that we can fully embody the true essence of who we are, unencumbered by all of these distortions. So Mary Magdalene herself shows us that way forward of emotional self-mastery. She is the embodiment of that wisdom, actually, which, when I was tuning in, and roses, I just wanted to note those beautiful roses in the background. That white one in particular is so big. I have to reach way back. My hair keeps covering my dress, by the way. I want to just make sure it doesn't look like I am naked on this video. It's appropriate. So she is the truth of love. She shows us the truth of love. And part of her path is reminding us that the emotional baggage is not truth. The truth is love. And so this path of self-mastery is one of embodying true unconditional divine love and healing all that is blocking us from being in that frequency and that energy. So the ruby ray, I wanted to share briefly. I decided I'm going to do a whole separate video probably tomorrow with the cards because there was a lot, but look at that beautiful card. So this connects with the activation that came through, but the red rose is deeply associated with Mary Magdalene, and there's that passion, that fire energy. She's got a lot of that lioness, very connected with Sekhmet. For anybody who's familiar with the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet, it's that sacred rage energy, that fierce love of the feminine, of the mother, the protection of the mother. So she contained a lot of that rage, but we alchemize that rage, that anger, rage against the suffering of humanity, the suppression, the degradation of the feminine, which has been going on for millennia. She incarnated herself in a time of deep, deep distortion and persecution. And she alchemized that. She transmuted that anger into a more expansive frequency of love, into the potentiality of healing for others. She was Yeshua's counterpart, to be very clear as well. So she is a beautiful representation of the reclamation and the remembrance of the power of the divine feminine, because she was desecrated. Her reputation was desecrated by, I just saw 1144, it's a number that comes up for me a lot, by the patriarchy, by the dudes who edited the Bible so heavily. She had her own gospel, the Gospel of Mary, that was just removed, deleted. And that was very much teaching us the way of the heart, the path of love. And deleting that is deleting the feminine. The feminine was also deleted from the Holy Trinity as well, but Mary Magdalene herself was described as a prostitute. She was understood to be a prostitute for so many centuries, when truly she was actually Yeshua's divine counterpart, like the OG twin flames, if you want to call it that. There's a lot of distortion in that terminology as well, to be fair. So divine counterpart, they came together in sacred union, and she was just as powerful a healer as he was. But of course, due to the suppression of the feminine at their time and the literal danger that they faced for stepping out of line, her role was deliberately masked and minimized for self-protection purposes. But in their sacred space, where they were in ministry together, essentially. They were side by side. She was sitting at his side, healing people the way he did as well. And in their ministry, they would gather all these people, and people, they just put in energetic protection so people wouldn't recognize her or remember that it was her and not him that was healing it. It's just fascinating layers that have come through all of these beautiful channeled works that are now remembering her true essence. So when we look at the distortion, there's been a Holocaust against women, to put it really bluntly. Like millions upon millions of women over the centuries have been persecuted, and not just women, but very much the energetics embodied by the feminine, whoever embodied it, the healers, the way showers, that, the ones called witches, have been suppressed and persecuted for centuries. In the burning times, obviously, we see a lot of this. And I actually just saw another video this morning by a dear sister who was sharing about Bern, Switzerland, how that was one of the places in Europe where they really heavily persecuted the witches, and they would tie rocks, and if they sank, then they're innocent. But then they're dead, right? So it's really grim to consider all of the heavy energetics that have been placed on the feminine. It's not just women, but the feminine, but the women in particular. We carry this deep trauma in our DNA, in our womb space. So this is part of what humanity is awakening to clear, to heal, to transmute, to integrate into our divine power. So it's a lot. It's been a big job, but this is why this card came through too. It's not just that it's transformation, it's that she's like, look how just embodied she is. She's a little badass queen sitting on her throne right there. And deep replenishment, just a little reminder. Again, I'm going to do the full thing tomorrow, but I just wanted these little affirmations through the cards to be shared today too, because there's so much that's coming up in the collective to be healed, to be transmuted, to be integrated, and to really understand the true energetics that are going on, that are working through us right now, and what the rise of the divine feminine is all about, because it truly is deeply important to the future evolution of humanity. This is sacred union, isn't just with a sacred counterpart, it's also within the energetics within, weaving together, coming into communion within, so that we can fully embody our true divine power and claim our true divine inheritance. We need both to be in harmony and balance. And this is why society has become so imbalanced, is because of the suppression of the feminine. Without both, what results is a crazy society. I mean, look at what's happening in the world, what's been happening, what's happened to the environment, what's happened to the children. The desecration, the degradation, the suppression, the oppression of the feminine has far-reaching consequences. And also the sexuality, the impulse of sexuality. So Mary Magdalene is very connected with healing the womb and healing our relationship with pleasure, sexuality, and creation, because the womb is the portal of creation. So when we desecrate the womb, when we desecrate the feminine energy, our feminine sexuality, we are desecrating the purity of creation as well. So that's where the white rose comes in, to recognize that her true essence is pure love creation energy. And to desecrate the feminine is to desecrate the divine Holy Spirit that works through us. So we can see now the total inversion and distortion that has happened through the suppression, through the patriarchal view of women, which is very demeaning and has broken all of us, not just the women. It has created so much distortion in the men as well, the way they relate to women, the way they relate to their own sexuality, the way they relate to themselves. The blockage of the feminine energy also relates to the heart in men. It's all of us, right? And their womb space, their sacral. So, and I say they, if you're a man, thank you for watching this and tuning in and wanting to really dive in deeper and understand this energetic, because we all contain these energies, as I said it from the get-go, and healing this requires us all to step up, because truthfully, the spiritual war has been won. The light has already won, but the trickle-down effects on earth are still needing a great deal of healing, because here's the thing. Us humans still carry these trauma templates. We still carry these deep imprints of trauma, of pain, of suppression and persecution. So it is now up to us to do the individual healing in order to fully liberate ourselves, to fully liberate humanity on a collective level from all of this heavy, heavy energy that we have been suffering through for millennia. This is through our lineage, this is through past lives, if you want to go there as well. This is now being transmuted and healed and integrated through us. It's possible. It's completely possible. We're removing implants. We're removing the trauma imprints. We're removing all of it. And it's totally possible to heal and integrate this deep wounding, the anger, the grief, the pain, the shame, the guilt, the unworthiness, the lack, the separation, the fear, the anxiety, all of it. And there's more, the helplessness, the hopelessness, right? Those are all very low frequency states of being that result from these old trauma and persecution imprints largely. So if we can actually confront this within, and this is where the retrograde energy is actually assisting us in healing and transmuting it, if we can confront that energy and integrate it, then we are not just doing a service for ourselves, but we're doing a service for the collective, for humanity as a whole, because as within, so without. Us healing has a ripple effect into the consciousness of humanity. Us healing creates more space for us to hold light, and us shining our light then sparks and ignites the lights in everyone around us. And it gives them permission to heal. It gives them permission to step into their power. It gives them permission to shine. So as within, so without. When we heal the inner conflicts within, the conflicts without will begin to cease. I wrote a post about that years ago, and we need these constant reminders. Inner peace within will create peace without. The harmony within, harmony without. Love within, love without. Love thy neighbor as thyself. One of the most profound teachings that there is when you really get down to its core, because what is it truly saying? I've said this before, and I will say it until everybody gets it. Self-love first. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And how can we love somebody else if we don't know how to love ourselves truly, fully, completely? It's impossible for us to truly love somebody else unconditionally if we cannot love ourselves unconditionally. So both Mary Magdalene and her divine counterpart, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, they show us the path forward, the path of love, the way of the heart that guides us to Christ consciousness, unity consciousness. He was an embodiment of that Christic energy. They were both ascended masters. They both went through the mystery schools of initiation that existed back in the day, but the mystery school now is life itself. Life itself is the initiation. So this is the time to really awaken to the truth of who we are, of what is really happening for humanity collectively, and also how powerful we really are. So this is just a nutshell of what the Divine Feminine Rising is about and why it's such a strong energy working through us right now, and why I was called to speak into it. Of course, I guided the transmission yesterday, and the activation that came through was just really, really beautiful and powerful. Every single time I'm very humbled and awed of what does come through. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as directly connected to Mary Magdalene as I am to some of the other guides, but because yesterday was her day, I knew she had to come through, and I was like, I wasn't obviously not forcing it, but I was a little nervous, a little anxious, which is rare for me. I was like, what is this about? And then it was like, surrender. This is the self-mastery piece coming in, reminding myself to use these tools, to use the wisdom that I have learned over the processes that I've gone through. And once I did that and I just relaxed, her voice was coming through. The messages that she shared were so powerful. I was just allowing it, and I was just very, very in deep gratitude, I suppose is the way to say it, of what was coming through. So I highly encourage you to attune to that, because it's very much about opening the heart and allowing the rose to blossom. And there's a lot of womb space connection in this activation as well. So it's connecting us all to the energetic that exists within us all, that divine feminine energy. So I will link that below, and my free group, and the 8 golden keys to abundance is coming up. It's such a powerful time of year, so many things going on, and the abundance and the feminine are completely interlinked. So this is a continuation in a way, and the ascended masters were working through us very much so last year when I recorded the initial ones. So all of the wisdom transmissions related to the chakras, so these are chakra clearings, healings, activations, and upgrades essentially to new earth frequencies, is what the 8 golden keys are. We go one up, the soul star, and this is how we receive and connect to the higher self in particular. So that is all available, instant access. And this year we'll be doing daily live transmissions on top of it. Lots of other beautiful bonuses in the form of activations, and bonus content is in there as well. So I encourage you to check those out if you feel called to go deeper. And of course, my big program expansion, year-long container, you get access to a year-long of calls, and it's 12 modules of the process of self-mastery. That's also available, and everything is included with that. So make it simple for yourself. Anyway, I hope this resonates with you. Thank you so much for being here. If you resonate with this, I so appreciate the likes, subscribes, and the comments. What's been coming up for you? How are you connecting with and relating to the divine feminine energy? Any triggers that have been coming up for you? I would so love to hear what's been processing and working through you. So thank you again so much for your beautiful energy, for being here, and I will be sharing more about this energy and the cards. Always the cards, people love the cards, so I'll be doing more of that too. So thank you again for being here. Onward and let me just end with, that's Mary Magdalene's card. Beautiful card. Again, I'll share more in a separate video. Onward and upward in love and light, and I will see you soon.